Code Red selected.
What's good, guys? It's your boy Code Red, and I am back with another one. So listen, man, it's been a great week. It's been an amazing week. We got the release of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and it's been doing numbers as it should, as anything that is Dragon Ball Z related is going to do. It's going to make numbers, um, and it's been doing it. It's been doing it. Sparking Zero launched this week, and it has been crazy. I have had opportunity to play the game this week, and I have been playing it. I actually done some streams going through some of the story, as well as just playing other things. I recently started playing online, and I've been having a great time with the game. To me personally, this game has brought me back to a good time where I can remember being a youngin' and playing the Budokai games, just racing home to just get on it and play with my friends or whoever. So it brought back that feel. I stopped playing it after once Tenkaichi came around. I played the first one, and it just wasn't for me. I didn't like the new formula that they were doing at that time, and I just fell off with the game. Honestly, I just really fell off with the game. Budokai 3 still remains the best when it comes to that arena fighting style game. It remains the best to me by far. And that's with all Dragon Ball games, to be really honest, even like fighters included. I still consider Budokai 3 my own personal favorite of all of them. So, but what's interesting is that over the weekend, there's been some discussions pop up, which I don't know, it always seems to pop up. And that is the discussion of, you have one side saying arena fighters are true fighting games. You have the other side saying basically no, it's not. And it seems to always come around whenever a new arena fighter, pops out or pops on the scene, especially a Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z related game. Whenever one of those games pop up, it seems to always come about. And so it got me to thinking personally. And again, guys, before we even start this, look, y'all, this is an opinion piece, because I know some of y'all take this stuff serious, and it's not that serious. It's really not that serious. And some of y'all take this stuff to heart or whatever, but at the end of the day, it is just an opinion, and everybody has an opinion. It doesn't mean that it is factual or we should be taking it as gold. So with that being said, y'all, just take it for what it is. Hey, if you have a difference of opinion, so be it. It is what it is. But got me to thinking. And well, first of all, let's talk about what an arena fighter is. So an arena fighter, basically, on the surface, it's a 3D based game that has a 3D style atmosphere, in which usually the camera is behind them, over a shoulder of some sort of, behind the actual character. And the environment is basically free roam. It's high pace. It's usually a fast game with a lot of movements. You can move anywhere on the screen. When we think about arena fighters, there's really nothing of its kind as far as when it comes to fighting games. What we consider this game to be under, these games to be under. So with arena fighters, they typically have been considered like a branch off, at least to me, to the fighting game genre, because nothing really plays like it. It really plays like by itself. There's nothing that really plays like an arena fighter. So when you look at a traditional fighting game, or the definition of a fighting game, basically a fighting game, you have two opponents. You select their character or their characters. Both opponents go against each other. Life depletes, it goes away. Whoever is left standing in the end is the winner. That's typically how it goes. The object is to defeat your opponent. By those basic standards, that would classify an arena fighter as a fighting game. When it comes to me, do I think arena fighters are fighting games? Yes and no. And the yes part of me is because by definition of a fighting game, arena fighters would match that definition, right? But then for me, when you deep dive and you look more into this, for me, I feel like you have to look at the intent of the type of games that they are. So with arena fighters, the biggest thing with arena fighter is that feel arena fighter, at least how it's introduced to the public, is introduced as a fan service game or something in which they want to put as much possible as possible into the game to create this environment or create this game in which it's just full enjoyment, right? It's a true fan service when it comes to these games. The competitive, while it can be there, it's second. It's second to this fan service package. Whereas with a more traditional fighting game, to me, I feel the competitive side is put first and then the fun. So, and when I say that, when you look at games like Street Fighter and you look at games like Tekken or, you know, any SNK game, whatever the game may be, they come into the game with the approach of balancing the game. Now, of course, you may have your situations where one character is obviously broken, or two here, three are there, whatever. You'll know who are your good characters in the game, or who break the mechanics of the game really well. But typically, they approach these fighting games with the idea of trying to make them as balanced as possible. So they put time and effort into each character, and they put time and effort into the mechanics that they introduce and how they directly affect the characters within the game. Its approach is on the competitive side first, and then the fun comes. Now, the fun obviously just comes because it's at the end of the game. End of the day, fighting games are fun, right? So it comes, but their focus is to create a game in which there's a balance to it. With arena fighters, typically what you see is a situation in which these characters come out, or the game itself has just its pure broken elements to it. And a lot of times you'll see characters, they try to match the characters as much to the lore as possible. So you will see the situation where a certain character is OP because they're OP in the true story, like in the lore or whatever, which, I mean, it makes sense, but that's where the fan service comes in. That's where, you create the fantasy or the moments of what happens if I put this character with this character, right? So with fighting games though, even though we know, say for instance, like an Akuma and I don't know, a Marisa, for instance. In the lore, there's no chance Marisa stands against Akuma, right? We know that. But in a fighting game world, like a Street Fighter, we know that there is a chance, because the playing field is more, it's based on balancing a game. It's not focused on the lore. It's not focused on the fan service. It's not focused on the fantasy of the game, or what the game tries to portray as far as matching what you see in an anime or a TV show. It's not focused on that. It's strictly balanced. And I think that's what separates an arena fighter from a traditional fighting game. A traditional fighting game approaches the situation with, we want to focus more on the competitive side, versus the arena fighter who approaches the game with a fan service. Now, that's not to say that these games can't be competitive, because I mean, we've seen it, time and time again. Arena fighters have become competitive. I mean, you look at games like Pumpkin Tournament. It's a competitive tournament game. People play it on a higher level. People play it on the competitive scene. It's a tournament game. There's various games that have just come out and have reached that competitive level. So it's not saying that it can't occur. What I'm saying is that when these games are developed, they're not developed with that in mind. And to me, that's what keeps it from being a true fighting game to me. Feel like, yeah, it matches the definition, I mean, to the point, to the T. But for me, a fighting game is one in which there is an even playing field. There is something you go in and you can play at strictly at the competitive level if you choose to. And I know like some people may say, well, fighting games like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. I mean, those are party games and fun games just like an arena fighter. Yeah, that's true. But what those games do is they still give you the ability to tap into the more competitive side. If you want to really test yourself against your opponents and your friends or whatever, you can, or you can just play it to play it, you know? So I think that's where the separation lies. And I think for me, because of that, yes, I say it's a fighting game. But no, it's not a fighting game. To me, it has its branch off. Like it's under the umbrella of what we know a fighting game to be, but also, hell, it's an arena fighter. Nothing plays like it. So yeah. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. Get in that comment section. Do you think arena fighters are fighting games? Do you think they're not? What do you think, just in general about them? What do you think could be better about them? Do you think that arena fighters are in a good place right now? And then what about that score? Because they gave this game, Sparking Zero, a 7, IGN on 10, and to me that's a little bit ridiculous. I think the game is higher than a 7 for sure. And I'm just curious what you guys think about it. But yeah, y'all get in that comment section and let me know what you think. Again, as always, you take care of yourself, take care of each other, man. Code Red, wow.
Code Red. Selected.